Everybody knows John Wayne Gacy, Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer. But what about the other guys? The lesser known, that are just as evil. Come along and explore them and learn some hard lessons with me, Brett, and my co-host and beautiful wife, Deanna. Each week, we will be exploring the dark minds of these people, also paranormal, conspiracy theory, and some cryptids. We hope you have as much fun with this as we do.
Hey classmates, this is Deanna.
Hey guys, this is Brett, and welcome back to episode 38 of Hard Lessons, True Crime Podcast.
38.
We are veterans that have no idea what they're doing.
We are clueless veterans.
Clueless veterans.
Yep. That's okay.
Absolutely.
Can't be good at everything. We're perfect. So.
I would actually like to be just good at one thing, honestly.
You are. Sorry, my nose is
itchy.
Just issues with my nose.
So Teach, how was your week?
My week was absolutely amazing. I got to spend it with my best friend.
Hey, Veronica.
Down in, almost in Central America. Nope. Central Texas. New Brunswick, San Antonio, Austin area. Got to see parts of Austin I've never seen before. Got to travel down scary winding roads at night. Got to see a Sod Poodles mission game, which the first game that we were at, they totally lost. And who won the next two?
The Sod Poodles.
The Sod Poodles.
You bad luck charms.
Yep. Floated in the Guadalupe, did the river walk, got to go to the Alamo, which is my favorite of all times.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you are a true Texan, you would try to figure out a way to go down there and check it out. Go on the missions tours. Check out the bunkhouse. Take the tour of the Alamo and be respectful, because that's where our history starts, right there.
Right there.
Well, the true, because we fought for our freedom.
Sure.
For Texas freedom. So.
Yeah. What'd you do Friday night?
Friday night, look, I'm still blushing every time you bring it up. I got to go see.
Got to relive some of your youth.
I don't know what youth I was reliving because I didn't know very many of their songs. But I got to see DJ Jazzy Jeff and Paula Abdul, she's 62 years old and does not, her body doesn't look 62. I couldn't really see her face, but that's beside the point. And then I got to see New Kids on the Block. Specifically, I hunted out Jonathan Knight. I did. I hunted him all over that stage. And I'm upset that I didn't get any closer, but I got to hear him sing and do his thing with the new kids.
Yeah.
And then I was 20 yards away, maybe 25 yards away from Donnie at one point. Yeah. And at least 10, 15 max yards away. And I could have taken a really cool picture of him. Well, I got that little bit of snippet of a video.
You did. Yeah, you got the little video.
Yeah. So, and that shows him I could have spit on him. I wouldn't have, because that would be rude, but
He was that close.
Yeah, I could have ran and flung myself at him.
Yeah.
Well, flung myself at the people because I'm fat. I can't get up like
You're
that.
not fat.
So, so that was Friday night, which was
amazing.
Yeah, because I mean, at the time I felt pretty stupid, but I mean, looking back at it, it was really fun. There was a lot of people dressed during that era, and I'm like, I don't remember the neon and the
oh my gosh,
scrunchy socks, and so I don't remember.
My baby sister, hey Nicole, see you at the end of this week, was a huge New Kids on the Block fan.
I thought it was Backstreet or NSYNC. New Kids?
Any new CD that came out. Any new video of their concerts that came out.
Who did she like?
Jordan.
Jordan?
Yeah. And I set up Friday nights till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning watching their concerts with her.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me just say, Nicole, if their concerts back then were anything like they were or are now, wow. They put on a show. I'm talking like 2.5 hours.
They got to be our age.
And dancing. Oh, yeah.
How do people have that type of energy? I barely make it into the house after work.
Well, from what I saw, they have trainers and are very dedicated to working out.
I bet they're on meth.
No, they're not. They wouldn't have been able to sing and operate and communicate the way they did.
You ever done meth?
No, and I'm not going to.
How do you know what they could do? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, I'm like.
Yeah. They could take a super meth that doesn't affect you.
No, please. That's just wrong to even talk about. All of them, high energy. They were focused. They were entertaining. It was just awesome.
That's awesome. I'm glad you got to experience it. I really am.
Thank you. And then Saturday we took a petty tour.
Petty.
Yeah, like they're on bicycles and they pedal.
Oh, I was picturing like nail salon. They take you to different nail salons.
No. So, I don't know what they're really called, but the ones like you sit in the back and then they take you places.
Like what I rode.
Like a rickshaw or whatever that is called.
Ricochet.
Yeah. I don't know. Yes, like that. But they have motorized where it
so they don't
helps
have to pedal.
you. So no, they're not struggling trying to pedal things, pulling people around. And so we got to do that. Got to see lots of different pieces of artwork painted around town. Basically downtown, 6th Street, 5th, and like in that area. Got to go by Lady Bird Johnson Lake. Found out some cool things about that lake. I was technically looking at everybody thinking, are you the murderer? Are you the killer? Oh, he just walked into that bar. Is he the murderer? Like I was hunting. And then I was afraid I was going to actually see a body, and then I quit.
At one point in time, I received a text message from Teach, and it said, "What do you think this is?" And then a second later, I get another text message, and it's a picture, and it's an office building, and there's a trash bag laying out in front of it. And I was like, oh, for 100%, there's a body in there.
Yeah, that was like Tuesday
or Wednesday. It was earlier.
Yeah, and it looked crumpled up like a body. Oof. And then we had lunch with Baby Love and the amazing daughter. And then we went back and we took a nap, which was amazing. That was like the highlight. And then we went to, I can't pronounce it, it's some Japanese restaurant downtown, and you get to order and then you like cook your own food at your table, which was really cool. Never done that. had duck for the first time. Tastes like chicken. And then we went to, we went on a murder tour.
Sorry about that, guys. Our dogs are going crazy. A murder tour.
A murder tour of the, I didn't murder anybody, of the first serial killer in the United States. A bunch of people think that it was H.H. Holmes, but these murders, which there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or more, 6 to 8, I think. Within a year. So 1884, the December of 1884, and then into 1885.
Oh, wow.
So that was before H.H. Holmes.
Yeah.
So we got to go to 3 of the victims where they were living.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it doesn't look like that now, but it's hard to picture, but you can do it. And then we would walk along, like, some of the paths that they would take. Walked along Shoals Creek, because that's where a couple of them occurred. And walked. So there was 2 right back to back, and we went to another one, and she would tell us stories about it and on the way, and then we ended at the Driscoll. And I have to be honest with you, I felt like I was walking into the Titanic with their staircase, and you know how they had that dome?
Mm-hmm.
So they have one of those that is circle and it has a star.
Oh, nice.
Right there's a light, and then you have the staircase that you go up. And then you go up a little staircase to the bar, or then you go up a little bit more and up to the right to the first floor. Or second, however you want to call it.
Sure.
And I was just like, it's like Titanic.
Pretty fancy, huh?
Not as fancy as what you would think. It's really not. It's more hyped than anything.
Sure.
It really is. I hate to say that. I never saw one of the rooms, but I'm going to guarantee you that it's a hotel room.
Right.
Like, that's it.
Go in there and sleep and do your
shower,
business.
do your business, and then you go out and take tours of Austin. And then we got to hear some more stories about a murder that took place like right across from where the Driscoll is.
Oh, wow.
And then another murder, and then 2 more murders. We sat in the Driscoll lobby area, and she told us all about that. And it's never been found. There are, of course, suspicions and theories of who it is, but no real concrete evidence of anything.
There's a theory that it could also be Jack the Ripper. They could be one and the same.
Yep, because one of the suspects was at each murder scene. And then all of a sudden he collects his last paycheck, gets on a boat, and goes to London. And then boom.
And this is tracked down by Scotland Yard.
This is tracked down by them, not us.
Not Austin PD.
No.
You know they'd have bumbled it.
Well, even back then, like 12,000 people and 14,000 people and 12 cops. And the university, there was 236 students.
Oh, wow.
So when all of this started, everybody left. the professors, they were like,
We out.
yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of those little details, and so I bought a book that is about the whole thing that this tour guide person told us about. And in just a second, I'm going to tell you the book name because I didn't bring it with me. So I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Okay, so the book is called The Midnight Assassin, The Hunt for America's First Serial Killer by Skip Hollandsworth. He actually has a YouTube about the exact same thing that you could watch.
Oh, I know what we're watching when we get done recording.
Okay. Me and Veronica tried to watch it and decided it was
no good.
Felt like a lecture at college, and you were so bored.
Yeah.
So, but the tour guide highly recommended this book. Well, so cool. I ordered it, and it's sitting over there waiting for me.
That's awesome. Well, I am glad you had a good time. I'm not going to lie. I am a little bit jealous. But we're going to be down there in a week and a half. Mm-hmm. There's still a couple of things on my bucket list that I want to go see that we haven't seen yet.
Absolutely.
The location of the yogurt shop murders.
Yes.
And the clock tower from the clock tower shootings on the campus University of Texas.
Clock Tower, the Texas Lunatic Asylum, which we have to track down and figure out where it's actually located.
Maybe finally hook up with our friend Aliqua from the Nosy Nancy's.
Yes.
We've only been talking about it for a year and a half now.
Has it really been a year and a half?
Well, no, because we haven't. We just started the podcast last September, so we've only been talking about it for a half year now.
I was like, I'm confused.
You know, time flies.
It must have, because...
Yeah. As old as we're getting, might as well add a year to it.
Might as well.
Well, are you ready for the more you know?
Absolutely, because I need more useless information crammed into my brain.
All right. Your brain hides your nose. Your nose is always visible. It's right in your line of sight, but your brain hides it through a process called unconscious selective attention.
So like when we're looking out at things, it hides us? It hides
It hides the nose.
Unless you're like directly looking for it?
Unless you cross-eyed yourself and look at it. Oh. But like...
So why?
So you're not always just staring at your nose. You can see the other world around you.
That's totally BS, but okay.
I don't know why. It just does that.
You got to look up why. You can't just tell me this useless information and not tell me the why.
Well, I give you the useless information and you look up the why.
No. That's not how it works.
That ain't it at all, huh?
That's not how it is. If you want me to learn something, you better have the details.
Gotcha. Yep. It'll happen.
All right.
All right. You ready?
Yep.
I'm doing a serial killer this week.
Awesome. Class begins. I think that's what I say.
Class is in session.
Oh, class is in session.
Hey,
it's been a while.
It works. His crimes terrified Baton Rouge, Louisiana for 10 years.
10 years, yikes.
His victims ranged in age from 30 to 82 years old.
Okay, that is a wide range.
It is a wide range. Today we are talking about Sean Vincent Gillis, the other Baton Rouge killer.
Who was the other one?
There was actually
several?
There was 3 going on
at the same time.
At the same time frame, and one of them, and I probably did not write his name down, but I meant to. Donald. Anyway, he was the more known. Sean was jealous of him and wanted to have his name out, so that's why the media gave him the name The Other. Just kind of pick at him like, you wanted to. He's not a good guy. That's him right there.
Well, he looks a little bit different, and he looks like, what is that other dude?
Jeffrey Dahmer?
Nope, BTK.
Oh, Dennis.
Now, can you see it?
I do.
If he was a little bit chunkier, you would think that they were relatives.
That's true.
Maybe they have a theme going on.
Well,
now those glasses are 80s or 90s.
mm-hmm.
So,
and there's going to be some similarities to Jeffrey Dahmer in this case.
So he looks like the other, but his actions are more Dahmer-like.
So I will give.
This could be a disgusting one.
I will give a heads up. There will be discussion of necrophilia. There will be a discussion of cannibalism. And there's going to be discussion of mutilation. And Keach's face just dropped. I think she wishes that she was still on vacation.
Well, yes. My brain is so naive to think that there's real evil out there.
Yeah. So Sean Vincent Gillis was born on June 24th, 1962 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. His parents were Norman and Yvonne Gillis. He really basically had a normal childhood as far as that goes. His dad, Norman, did struggle with alcohol and mental issues. There is one reported incident where Norman held a gun to an infant, Sean's head.
Oh, so when he was a baby.
Yes, ma'am. But later on, to protect his family, Norman abandoned them and would spend several years in and out of mental institutions.
So that is a very high contributing factor to the son's issues. Okay.
So obviously this left Yvonne alone to juggle raising Sean, plus her job at a local television station in Baton Rouge.
Ooh, what'd she do?
Behind the scenes. I don't know if she was like a secretary or what.
So she didn't have a menial, not knocking the
right. Yes.
those type of jobs, but she had one that was relatively stable.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
He also had a good relationship with his paternal grandparents who aided Yvonne.
Oh, helped her.
Yeah.
Okay.
In raising Sean.
Cool. So again, probably some roots, stable.
Mm-hmm. Unlike other serial killers, Sean had a good relationship with his mother. He attended a Catholic elementary school at Yvonne's request. And then when he started going to high school, he went to Redemptorist High School, where he met two good friends.
Oh, okay.
So things are going to change for him now. Because he's got these two good friends, right?
Oh my gosh. I don't think these friends were really...
Things are on the rise now.
I am going to say that they were the...
Opposite?
Yeah. The Louisiana most wanted list people.
Well, around the same time, he also him and his two friends became interested in satanic worship, watching locals engage in the worship, and enjoyed the rush of being scared by them.
So they liked to watch these people worship whatever it is.
Yes, ma'am.
Because they were afraid of it?
They liked the feeling it gave, the rush of the fear, the adrenaline.
Okay.
They also started smoking marijuana.
No.
And doing petty crimes.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Start out small.
Yeah.
Go big.
I think he went really big.
When Sean was 17, he reunited with Norman, his dad.
Okay.
This was good for about a year. And one day when Norman was over at his dad's place, he discovered that Norman was not the man he always thought his dad was.
Well, what kind of an idea did he think his dad was?
We thought he was a manly man, you know, big, strong, family guy. You know, he left to protect us, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, I'm going to think, oh gosh. So what kind of man was Mr.?
He was hidden in the closet. Sean found several photos of naked men in sexual positions. He found several gay magazines, and he did not take that well.
Well, no wonder the man had mental issues.
You know, I used to be the biggest homophobe in the world. And
well, in your mind, you were the biggest one.
In my mind.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's really heartbreaking that people can't live how they need to live because they're afraid of how they're going to be stereotyped.
Mm-hmm. Or ostracized from family. We're supposed to love the sinner, not the sin.
Exactly.
So they're still people. They still have lives.
Exactly. They're, you know, classmates. Love who you love. There's no judgment here with Teach and I.
Nope.
So,
hi, Dose.
Hey, buddy. Love you, brother. Sean was horrified and never saw his father again.
I'm surprised he didn't kill him.
I am too. Somebody needs to check on Norman.
Yeah.
Go check on Norman.
Is his last name Bates? Anyway, yeah, like, surprised he didn't just twist off and kill him then.
Yes, ma'am. After graduating high school, Sean got a job with a company called Southland Corporation. They owned the chain of 7-Eleven convenience stores in the area.
Oh, okay.
So he got a job with them working at nights. And this is where things turn around for Sean. They're going to go good, right?
You're so sarcastic. I'm really going to go with no.
He did not find joy in working.
Of course not.
And I wrote in the parentheses, who does?
Really? Adulthood is ridiculous.
I'm saying. He would transfer from one store to another. But what he really wanted to do was be at home sitting in front of his computer viewing porn.
Ooh, what not? Ooh. More like, ooh, like what kind?
I'm glad you asked. It's almost like we rehearsed this. He had a specific type of porn that he was into.
Oh, gross. What is it? Sadomasoch?
He was into the violent rape, the murder porn, and dismemberment porn of women.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, so on your mind, that's just a different subject to talk about, not on podcasting, but
all of his responsibilities, such as his job, began to suffer because of this obsession.
Yeah, because that's all he's thinking about is everything that he sees, just like in today's world, the video games and Facebook.
Let's take it out into real life.
Yeah, you live in that make-believe world, and that's all you think about.
Yes, ma'am. So with this new obsession of his with the computer led to him enrolling in a local community college to get a certificate for working on them.
On what?
On computers.
Oh,
working
computers. I totally went.
Let me read that
charts.
again?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So enrolls in a community college. Things are going to turn around for him now.
Right.
It's unknown if he completed, if he even went.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. In 1992, his mother, Yvonne, is offered an excellent job at a different TV station in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
She offers to take Sean with her, but he refused.
Okay.
So this leaves Sean on his own. Now, you know, I said there's similarities between him and Dahmer. Dahmer was left home alone. Of course, Dahmer was still in high school. By this time, Sean is 30 years old.
I was going to say.
It's okay for him to be on his own.
Dahmer was abandoned.
Yeah. She offered to take him. Dahmer's parents didn't. They just left him.
Yeah.
So he is there. He's on his own. And, but Yvonne still pays the mortgage. So he doesn't have to work. He can still do his violent porn.
There's more to having a house than just the mortgage.
Well, he works just enough to get the food and the utilities.
Oh my gosh. Of course, This is the 90s where you could actually afford stuff.
Right. But quickly, Sean's frustrations started to grow. Neighbors reported that he would be out 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning just yelling at the sky and cursing his mother for leaving him.
Oh.
Again, he's 30.
Yes. Poor baby. Couldn't just pack up and go.
Also about this time, he is caught peeping into a female neighbor's window while she was in the shower.
Okay.
His excuse was that he was looking for his cat.
In her bathroom?
Well, the first thing that popped into my head is, yeah, he was looking for a cat, all right.
Okay. Hope it wasn't furry.
It was the 90s. Yeah.
I wouldn't know. Liar.
But that reminds me that, when I was a cop, the house at the end of our block down here that faces south, I got called there one night when a man was peeping into the window while their teenage daughter, was in the shower. And that was his exact same. And it used to have big, tall evergreen trees on the side of the house.
Oh, you mean that one?
That one.
Hey.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
The one that faces 18th
yes,
Street.
Now it makes more sense.
Yeah, and that was the guy. He come walking out while I was standing there.
From the backyard?
From the side. He was between the two houses, and they had that big evergreen tree.
Okay.
So he come walking around, and he was like, I was like, what are you doing over there? I'm looking for my dog. What's your dog look like? Well, what's your dog's name? Turn around, put your hands behind your back.
Yep.
You ask a dog owner their name, they're going to spit it off like that. They don't have to say,
Exactly. Okay.
So, anyway, he was arrested for peeping into his neighbor's window.
Okay.
And would be arrested several other times, but just for traffic violations, so he'd be quickly released. But he's starting to see the inside of the jail, starting to escalate a little bit.
Okay.
A couple of years go by, and Sean is introduced through a mutual friend, a woman by the name of Terry, and I watched a YouTube video and heard her pronounce her last name, and I'm still going to mess it up, Lemion. So I'm just going to call her Terry from here on out.
Okay.
Last name is spelled Lemoine. But yeah, so she'll be just referred to as Terry from here on out. On their very first date, her and Sean got into an argument.
Wow.
So, such an argument that Terry ended up slapping Sean.
Whoa, that boy set loose the Kraken right there.
What do you think Sean did?
Hit her back?
He started crying.
Oh. Okay.
This broke Terry's heart, and she apologetically said that violence will no longer be a part of their relationship.
Okay, I don't think that's going to happen, but okay.
Oh, we'll get back to Terry.
Okay. She ain't going to put up with nothing? Okay. So now that we've got a little bit of background on Sean, we're going to get into the murders. Okay, so he's a petty thief. The first woman that he actually goes out with basically slaps him and he cries. So I'm wondering if the cries were out of pleasure or he was humiliated.
Huh. That's a good point. I never thought of it like that. March 21st, 1994. Remember it well. Not really. I
vaguely remember. I was about 3 months pregnant. So I was a bit sick.
I was selling carpet, living with my grandmother.
Oh gosh, you sound like you could be.
I'm telling you, I did that quiz. It said I had the potential to be a serial killer.
Well, I've heard the things you talk about. I'm like,
Sean murders his first victim.
Okay.
81-year-old Ann Bryan.
Had to pick an old one, huh?
Well, I'll get to it.
Okay.
Ann lived at St. James Place, a retirement village. He chose Ann by random. He walked around the entire village, and hers was the only one that had the front door unlocked. She hadn't been feeling well, so she left it unlocked in case she had to call her nurse in the middle of the night. And so that way the nurse could get in.
So this was like not in their rooms or whatever, wasn't inside.
I picture it like the apartments out behind the mall.
Okay.
Or by Walmart.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Sean...
Sounds like an opportunity to me.
Sean told law enforcement after he was captured that he only intended to rape Ann, but she started screaming and I went crazy. Cops asked him, why did you choose Ann? And he said, I wanted to pick, for my first one, somebody weaker.
Okay.
Ann was stabbed in the face, chest, and genitals. So much so in the neck, face area that she was almost decapitated.
That's rage.
The coroner counted at least 50 stab wounds to her body.
Poor lady.
And so you would think this would kind of cool Sean off.
Was he caught?
Not yet.
Not yet. So he was telling them when he got caught.
When he got caught.
Okay, yes. I was confused.
They didn't
said that.
Like, okay, so this was in 94. He was caught in 2004. They didn't even tie him to this one. They wouldn't have known this had gone cold. They wouldn't have known that he did this one if he wouldn't have said something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. His fascination with violent porn intensified. He even shows photos of nude dead women to Terry. Now think of this. We're in the early stages of our relationship. I show you pictures of nude dead women. What are you going to do?
Gonna probably say some very harsh things and call the police.
Terry just blew it off. Thought it was a fascination, a hobby.
Yeah, no. First it would have been like, where in the crap did you get them freaking dead ladies' pictures?
Yeah.
And then you would have come up with some lame excuse, and then I would have said, you know what, you're just a freaking nasty, and I don't want nothing to do with you. Adios.
That's my girl. Now, you know how serial killers will take a respite.
Oh, okay, yeah.
A respite.
Yeah.
It was 5 years before he committed his next murder.
Gosh.
Yeah. In January of 1999, the body of 29-year-old Catherine Hall was discovered on a construction site in a remote area of Baton Rouge. And here are his victims. So this first lady here is Ann Bryan. Come on. Daydream believer and
Okay, so the first one was Ann Bryan.
Yes, ma'am. And then the second one will be Catherine Hall, the lady that I'm about to discuss now. They just found her body.
Okay.
Catherine, a known sex worker, was
okay, does it go across the top?
Yeah.
Goes across the top.
So that's Ann. That's Catherine, who we're talking about now.
Okay.
And these photos will be posted to our Instagram and Facebook page. Catherine was a known sex worker. She was found nude with ligature marks around her neck, cuts to her legs, and puncture wounds to her stomach. Todd Morris, with the Louisiana Attorney General's office, he's the detective for the Louisiana Attorney General's office, or a detective. And this one also may be a little stomach turning. I don't know how people feel about this, but he cut off her eyelids and took them with him. A token, like you were talking about a while ago.
Okay.
Lack of blood at the scene told investigators that the cuts occurred post-mortem. Not far from her body, from Catherine's body, detectives found her identification card, her jacket, and a large zip tie that matched the strangulation marks around her neck. During the autopsy, a hair was found in Catherine's mouth that was not hers. DNA did not give law enforcement a name, but it did tell them that they were looking for a white male.
What kind of hair that was?
In April of '99, Sean started stalking his third victim, Hardy Schmidt. So this lady here.
Her name is what?
Hardy Schmidt, Hardee. And she's a lot different than his other victims. She was high class. She was society. But he also drew a fascination to her when he saw her out jogging one day. And so over the next few weeks, he would go out and he would watch her jog. He would, tie down her path. He would figure out, okay, she's going to be here this time. She's going to be there, blah, blah, blah. So on May 30th of '99, just before 6 o'clock in the morning, Sean sees Hardy out jogging again. He comes up from behind her and hits her with his car, knocks her into the ditch, where he gets out and tightens a zip tie around her neck. He then takes and puts her back into his car, and they drive out to an isolated area where he raped her and finished killing her. He then put her body back in the trunk of his car and drove off. Now, you might be asking, because this is murder number 3, so he's officially a serial killer now. You might be asking, where's Terry during all this?
Yep.
Well, Terry, conveniently for him, worked nights.
So he was free.
He was free all night long.
So I take it their relationship continued.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's why he picked her up, Hardy's body up, and put in the trunk of his car, because it was time to pick up Terry
Oh
from
my
work.
gosh.
And he leaves her body in the trunk for 2 days until he picks Terry up one morning, and she's like, "What is that smell?" And he was like, "Oh, there was some roadkill in the road I ran over. I was coming to pick you up. I'll take you home, and I'll drive back into town and wash the car and get it all cleaned up." Okay.
Gosh.
Well, he did clean the car, but first he drove out to a bayou located off of Highway 61 in St. James Parish, and then dumped her body. It was discovered 2 days later. Yeah.
She had already been dead 4 days by the time they actually found her.
Mm-hmm.
Was there did anybody report her missing?
Her husband had reported her missing.
Were they looking for her? Or was it just a report of that she's missing?
That's all it said, was her husband had reported her missing.
Okay.
November 12th. That date sound familiar?
Yeah. Just a little bit before he was born, but yes.
Yes, Hamburger's birthday. November 12th, 1999. Sean picks up sex worker Joyce Williams.
Joyce Williams. That one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't see the mouse thingy.
Okay.
Took after doing what he does, zip tying her and strangling her. Thank you.
Hmm?
It wasn't sounding right in my head, so I knew it wouldn't come out right out of my mouth.
Strangulating her.
Strangulating her. He took her body.
He's from Texas, man.
That's right. He took her body back to his house, where he dismembered her and cannibalized her.
Why this one?
He never said.
Hey.
He then dumped her body in a remote area, and it was not discovered until January of 2000. So 2 months later.
2 months.
Also in January of 2000, Sean picked up sex worker Lillian Robinson.
Okay, that one.
Yes, ma'am. Strangled with a large zip tie and then thrown off a bridge. And I'm probably going to mess this up. Folks in Louisiana, Kim, Nessa, Captain, anybody else we know in Louisiana, I get this wrong. I am sorry now. Threw her off of a bridge over the Atchafalaya Basin near Whiskey Bay.
Okay.
Yeah, see it. Atchafalaya? I'm not making up words. I don't know. Autopsy showed that she also, other than having the zip tie around her neck, she showed signs of drowning.
Okay.
So she was alive when he threw her off the bridge. 10 is October. October 20th of 2000, he picks up sex worker Marilyn Nevels.
Okay.
Does his thing, strangles her. And then he waits almost 3 years.
What's going on?
His next murder is October 9th, 2003. It's 45-year-old sex worker Johnny Mae Williams. After he murders her, he decapitates both hands.
Is that called decapitation? I thought that was the head.
Severed both hands.
Okay. I was just like...
I wrote down severed and said decapitate.
Silly.
That's so silly. He severed both hands. And never... I bet you'll never guess what he did with those hands.
Kept them. Or he boiled them and made tacos.
He painted the nails.
And did what with the hands?
Just kept them as a trophy.
Where?
They didn't say.
Let me guess. Terry's nightstand.
I mean, she's not too bright.
Apparently not. Poor Terry.
Now, during the autopsy of Johnny, near where one of the hands was severed, not decapitated, they found a hair, ran DNA on it, and it's a perfect match for the hair that they found
in the mouth of the other.
Yes, ma'am. So now they're like, okay, so they're able to connect them.
Nice.
So Baton Rouge, unlike other police departments we have discussed, was on top of things and started a task force.
Good for them. It only took 4 murders for them.
That's right. So, February 26, 2004,
Okay.
the murder of Donna Bennett Johnston, 43-year-old female. This will be his last murder. Donna's nipples post-mortem were removed.
You're saying last name was Nipples.
Oh,
and I'm like,
Donna Williams.
Wait a second now.
Okay. Yeah, you just told me Johnston, not Williams. Johnny May was Williams. Okay. Donna Johnston.
Donna Johnston.
He removed her nipples.
Okay.
And ate them.
Okay. Maybe they would turn him into a whatever. I don't know why he would eat. Maybe the skin tasted different.
Maybe so. Maybe he thought it'd be like bacon. I don't know.
Who knows?
I would think more pepperoni. Anywho, during the autopsy, they were able to collect DNA from underneath Donna's nails. This matched the DNA from the hairs found on Hall and Williams.
Oh, no. Three are connected.
Now 3 are connected.
Mm.
They just don't have a name because his DNA is not in the system.
Of course not.
Of course not. Also, near where Donna's body was found, and this is old school law enforcement here. Uh-huh. They were able to make a cast of a tire track in the mud near where her body was found.
Smart thinking.
The investigation led authorities to a man who admittedly knew one of the victims, and while exercising a search warrant in the man's home, the purse of another victim was found.
Uh-oh.
And so they were like, okay, we got our guy.
Yeah, no, he was just a dumpster diver.
That's exactly right. He said, I found that in a dumpster. I thought it might have money in it. I meant to throw it away when I saw that it didn't. Still, law enforcement was like, well, I don't know. So they took DNA from him and his son, adult son that lived with him, and neither one of them matched.
Good.
So they were like, okay, it's not y'all. So with nothing else to go on, they turn back to that cast of the tire that they took. They take it to a local car dealership in Baton Rouge and was told that it is identified as tread belonging to a Goodyear Aqua Tread 3.
Okay.
In Baton Rouge, there was 100 people with that exact same tire.
Of course.
So they interviewed and asked DNA from all 100. Going down their list, on April 24th, police get to the house of now 41-year-old Sean Vincent Gillis.
I wonder which one on the list he was.
Maybe they're going alphabetically. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sean told the investigators that he knew about the murders, but only from what he's heard on the news.
Okay.
And he agreed to go to the police department for more questioning and a DNA swab. After the DNA swab, it was rushed to the Louisiana State Crime Lab and would be at least a 4-hour wait. So police could not arrest Sean without the DNA results and without him confessing, so they drive him back home.
Oh, of course. Can't keep him.
Now, around midnight, they would get the results that they were looking for. The DNA is a 100% match.
Ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding. What you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
That used to make people so mad when I would play that after I arrested them. I'd a little cassette and I'd put it in and I'd play it all the way to the jail.
How cool. I would probably would too.
Yeah. In the early morning hours of April 29th, 2004, a SWAT team arrested Sean. But what they found with Sean was surprising.
Probably disgusted.
Laying in bed next to him was Terry. They had no idea. They thought he was a single man. He had been in a relationship with her for over 9 years at this point. When she asked what is going on, Sean looked at her, shrugged his shoulders, and said, "Sorry, honey bunny." I guess that was his little love pet name for honey bunny.
Yes. I'm just thinking, like, what the crap is this?
Yeah, why are you shrugging your shoulders for?
Don't be calling me wanting something from commissary.
Once at the police department, Sean not only confessed to these murders, but also the cold cases of Hardy and Ann, the first.
Was he just like, yeah?
It was like, I'm here. I might as well just go ahead and give up the ghost. To avoid the death sentence, Sean pled guilty and received, quote unquote, several life sentences without parole.
Good.
He is currently housed in the Louisiana State Penitentiary, also called Angola. And from what I understand, it is one of the roughest prisons in Louisiana.
I think so.
Terry said in an interview that she would not believe that Sean did this. This is not the man that I have loved for the last 9 years. Until she talked to him at the visitation at the jail one day before he was transferred to prison. And she asked him, "Did you do these things?" And again, Sean replied, "Sorry, honey bunny, I did." The interviewer asked Terry, "What did you do next?" She said, "I hung up the phone and walked away."
Well, what was she supposed to do?
Yeah. Now, it's unknown if her and Sean are still in a relationship or, nothing was said about that. But that house where Sean mutilated and cannibalized those women, and that car that he drove their bodies around for days in, Terry still lives in that house to this day and still owns that car.
Okay.
When they asked her about it, she said, "The house did nothing. It's just a building." That's like saying, years ago, slaves were on this land. I better not buy that house because of what it used to represent.
Okay. I mean, I get it, but no, don't think so.
Knowing what I know, like if you turn out to be a serial killer.
Well,
and police say, yes, he's probably one of the world's worst. And right there at your dinner table where you're sitting eating that big bowl of pasta is where she ground up human flesh.
I don't know what a pasta maker.
I'm eating pasta. You did the ground meat. That's what's in the pasta.
Wow.
So that is Sean Vincent Gillis, the other
serial
Louisiana. My bibliography this week is a pretty cool website called True Crime News. Article is serial killer Sean Vincent Gillis calmly explains horrifying murders and his actions afterwards. These next two are TV stations in Baton Rouge. WAFB.com. Gillis confesses to another murder. Also WAFB.com. Gillis's girlfriend speaks out. An article on Oxygen.com. Serial killer strangled women and then mutilated them. And then one of my becoming favorite websites, allthat'sinteresting.com.
Yeah.
Pure Evil, the disturbing crimes of serial killer Sean Vincent Gillis. And Teach, that is Sean Vincent Gillis.
So he's still there?
Yeah, he got several life sentences.
Yeah.
So he's
All
still in
right.
Angola. So what's my grade this week, Teach?
Well, I'm gonna have to give you an A because there was a couple of parts where I kind of was not paying attention, so that's not your fault.
Cool. I will take that A. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, it was kind of gruesome, but not as gruesome as what I was thinking it was gonna be.
Yeah.
So,
I did, like the last 2 or 3, I didn't really go into the murders because he basically did the same thing.
Yeah,
Zip tie.
and they probably caught on to all of that too because that's the pattern.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's just sad.
It is sad.
Just people.
Just love people.
Like
okay?
he would just go and just randomly do this, like just get the urge and just.
Yeah.
And otherwise, he was probably the passive person and just, okay, honey bunny.
Yeah, I mean, she said he's very intelligent. He's very soft spoken.